Hi guys, welcome back. In the last session, we created our Jenkins job by using several tools like GitHub repository, and we used Maven, and we used Tomcat server, and we used Jenkins. So here if we observe GitHub, that is used to maintain project source code. Our project will have a repository in the GitHub. So once we download the source code from the GitHub, we need to build that code by using build tool. We are using Maven as a build tool in our application. And the next one is Tomcat server. Tomcat is a web server which is used to run Java web applications. Here, taking the code from the GitHub and building that code by using Maven, deploying that code into server is a manual process. So to avoid that manual process, we are using Jenkins. Jenkins is a CI/CD server. By using Jenkins, we can automate the deployment process. So yesterday, what job we have created is code is available in the GitHub, and that code we need to take from the GitHub and we need to build that code by using Maven, and we need to deploy that code into Tomcat server. So here we are having GitHub repository, right? And here we are having our Jenkins server. So in one machine, we are running our Jenkins server. This Jenkins server is communicating with the Maven build tool, and it is doing Maven build, compiling and packaging our application as a WAR file. Once a Maven build got completed, then it is deploying that application into Tomcat server. Tomcat is running in another machine. So now Jenkins machine is connecting with the Tomcat server and deploying our application into Tomcat server. And here we have configured build triggers here, and we configured post build action and build action. So Jenkins is taking the code from the GitHub repository, and it is communicating with the Maven to perform the build process, and it is communicating with the Tomcat server for the deployment. Code is available in the GitHub, and that should be taken care by Jenkins for automating the build and deployment. As part of that build and deployment process, we have given poll SCM. Build trigger options available, and build action, build step is available. Post build action is also available. So now if we see here, when we go for Git Maven Tomcat job, if we go to configure, that means I'm editing the Jenkins job. Source code management, I have given my GitHub repository URL and build trigger. So build trigger I'm giving when that build should be triggered, when that Jenkins job should be triggered. So if you give here build periodically 5 stars with the spaces. So now every minute it is going to trigger that build. These 5 stars we are calling as cron expression. These 5 stars we are calling as cron expression. 5 stars will be given, then every 1 minute automatically build will be triggered. Suppose if you want to trigger for every hour, instead of the first star, if you keep H there, then for every 1 hour automatically build will be triggered. But I don't want to trigger the build automatically for every 1 hour. I want to check with the GitHub, is there any code committed in the GitHub? Is there any code that got modified in the GitHub? So if any code modified in the GitHub, then only build should be triggered. For that, we will go for poll SCM. Poll SCM with 5 stars means every minute it will check with the GitHub repository for the code changes. So if code changes available, then only build will trigger. Otherwise, build will not trigger. That is the meaning of poll SCM. Perfect. Now here, next one, build step I have configured. Build step I'm giving as execute top level Maven targets. Our application is a Maven application. So I want to build that project by using Maven. Then we have post build action. Post build action, nothing but after build is completed, what you want to do. So post build action I have configured as take this WAR file and deploy that WAR file into my Tomcat server I have added the credentials of the Tomcat and I have given the URL of the Tomcat. So with this, once the build step is completed, then it is going to deploy my application to Tomcat server. Okay, guys, in the source code management, here we have configured the branch name as a master. So that means in the GitHub repository, master branch is available and it is going to deploy our application by taking the code from the GitHub master branch. By taking the code from the master branch. Now, if you see here, I have two branches. One is a master, another one is a develop. So now in the master branch index.jsp, it is available as welcome to Ashok IT. It is available as welcome to Ashok IT. Now in the develop branch, I want to make the changes. So in the develop branch, I'm making the code change, welcome to Ashok IT, and other text is also available. Welcome to Ashok IT Software Training. Welcome to Ashok IT Software Training Institute. Okay, now my application view is different in the master branch as well as in the develop branch. In the develop branch, so many messages are available. Okay, and it will display Ashok IT Software Training Institute. When you go for the master branch, it will display just welcome to Ashok IT. Now the code is different in the master branch as well as in the welcome branch. Now, when I am running my Jenkins job, it should ask me from which branch it has to take the code for the deployment. So as of now, when I am creating this job, in the source code management, I have given job name and I have given branch name as a master by default. And always it is going to take the code from the master branch in order to deploy. So this is my job. But now what I want to do is I want to choose the branch name dynamically when I'm going to trigger my job. Okay. When I'm going to click on the build now option, currently observe 4 builds are already happened. Yesterday last build happened. That is the 4th build. Now when I click on the build now option, now it is going to start the build. 5th build is started. Automatically it is taking the code from the GitHub repository from the master branch and our application got deployed. It is taking the code from the master branch and our application got deployed. But my requirement is when my job is triggered, then my job should ask me from which branch it has to take the code. So that means I want to pass branch name dynamically. Those are called as build parameters. Now go to this application. So this application is deployed from master branch. In the master branch, the message is available as welcome to Ashok IT. In the master branch, the message available as welcome Ashok IT. So in my application also, welcome to Ashok IT is coming. If you see the develop branch, in the develop branch, the message is different. Welcome to Ashok IT Software Training Institute. So currently when I run this job, by default, it has taken the code from the GitHub master branch. Now, I don't want to take from the master branch. I want to choose the branch dynamically. That is called build parameters. That is called build parameters. So what is the meaning of build parameters? Build parameters are used to supply input to run the job. Build parameters are used to supply input to run the job. Build parameters we can use to avoid hard coding. Now, for example, in which server our application should be deployed, in which server our application should be deployed, and from which branch it has to take the code, that can be decided by using build parameters. Currently, we have created normal build and it is having hard-coded values. So when I run the build, by default, it is taking from the master branch. But I want to make it as a dynamic. That is called build parameter. Build parameters are used to supply input to run the job. Using build parameters, we can avoid hard-coded values. We can pass branch name as build parameters. Create the new item and select the freestyle parameterized projects. Right now, let us see. I'm going to take another project with the parameters. Now, another job I am going to create, Git Maven Tomcat job with the parameters. Create a new item, freestyle project. Let me take it as Git Maven Tomcat parameters param job. That means build parameters I'm going to supply. Freestyle project, click on OK. Now for this project, now this is my Jenkins job to automate, build and deployment. This is my Jenkins job to automate, build and deployment. Whenever you are creating the job, here in the description, there is an option called this project is parameterized. So what is the meaning of this project is parameterized? Select this, add parameter. So what type of parameter you want to add? Do you want a Boolean parameter? Do you want choice optional parameter, credential, file, string, password, run parameter, string parameter? What type of parameter you want to supply? So I want to supply a string parameter. I want to supply a string parameter, or I want to supply some choice parameter like this. So now I want to add the parameter, add the choice parameter. So what are the choices available? Required choices. Choices we need to supply that. Now here we can pass branch name as a build parameter, parameterize section, select the choice parameter, branch name, choices, enter every branch name in the next line. So what are the branches that are available in the project? Those branch names we can supply as an input. You see here, developer branch available, master branch available. Now name, I'm going to select branch name. What is the branch name? Choices, I will have master branch and I have develop. So here description, so choose branch. Choose branch. So like this, I'm selecting choice parameter. Choice parameter means multiple options will be available. From those options, you take one option. Now branch name, 2 choices I have given. Then next on source code management, GitHub, repository URL. So our GitHub repository URL is available. Let us take our GitHub repository URL. Copy this GitHub repository URL. Give the repository URL for that. So where our project is available, that project repository URL we are giving there. Once we have given that repository URL, then credentials not required, branch. Here we have hard-coded the branch. Branch specifier, we have hard-coded the branch. Now I don't want to hard-code the branch. I want to take the branch from the branch name. So here I have given build parameter, branch name I have given. You take that branch name and you configure the branch name. That means whatever the branch I will select in the runtime, same branch will be available to deploy the code. Okay. Now after build trigger, build first of all general section. This is my Jenkins job to automate build and deployment. And so this project is parameterized. I want to pass the branch name dynamically. So I'm giving the choices. When I'm running the job, I will take that. Okay, guys. Now plain text preview. Now next one, source code management. The project is available in the GitHub. I'm giving the GitHub repository URL here, .git, GitHub repository URL. No credentials for the repository. From which branch it has to take the code. I have given the dynamic branch name. I've given the dynamic branch name. Build trigger. Now I will trigger the build manually to show you that. Build environment, not required anything. Build step, what you need to do for the build step. So it is a Maven application. So Maven goal should be executed. Now invoke top level Maven targets. Maven version 3.9 goal. I want to go for clean and package goal. I want to go for clean and package goal. Then post build action. After build is executed, what is our post build action? Deploy to the container. Now go here, deploy the war file to a container. So where the war file is available, so you can specify the war file name that is available in the target directory 01 maven webapp.war. That is what we configured yesterday. Context path, we are configuring that as maven webapp. Containers, Tomcat 9.x we have in another machine. Credentials we have added yesterday, Tomcat URL. So this is my Tomcat server URL. In this URL, my Tomcat server is available. I will configure that as a container. Fine. Click on apply, click on save. So with this, my Jenkins job is created, which is having parameter. So earlier we used to get build now option. Earlier we used to get a build now option. Now we are getting the option as build with parameters. Okay. When I click on build with parameters, it is going to ask me what parameter you want to supply for the branch name, because I have taken one parameter. I have taken one parameter for that. Now go here and see the build history. Currently, no builds available. In the build history, currently, no builds available. And there is the option build with parameters. So when I click on this build with parameters, my job is not executed. It is asking, this build requires some parameter. Choose the branch. Now, what are the branches I have given as a choice? There are two branches available in my GitHub. One is a master branch, another one is a develop branch. Suppose if I select master and click on build. Now my build is executing by taking the code from the master branch. Now go to build number 1, go to console output. You can see our build is started and it got finished successfully. So let us check our application is deployed as expected or not. Go to this Tomcat Server Manager app, Maven web app. Yes, our application is deployed as expected. It is deploying the code by taking from master branch. Now, I want to build this job by taking the code from the develop branch. I made my code changes in the develop branch. I want to run this job and I want to take the code from develop branch. Without changing anything in the job, I can deploy the develop branch code into the Tomcat server. Go to build with parameters. I will take the branch name as the develop and click on build. Second build number is getting started. Go to console output. Now, so here second build is started, that also finished successfully. Now you see running as a system with Ashok IT. It is fetching the code, then executing the clean package goal. From where it is taking the code now? From develop branch. So go here, refresh and access our application. Now our application is coming with a Software Training Institute. In which branch this code is available? Earlier when I access, I got welcome to Ashok IT. Very less data is available in the web page. Now when I run my job in the same application, latest code is available, which is deployed from the develop branch. Are you guys able to understand what is the purpose of build parameters now in the Jenkins job? Guys, are you able to understand what is the purpose of build parameters in the Jenkins job now? What is the purpose of build parameters in the Jenkins job? When the project is in the development mode, developers will deploy the code into server for testing purpose from multiple branches. Sometimes I want to deploy the code from the master branch in the dev environment. Sometimes I want to deploy the code from the develop branch. Sometimes I want to deploy the code from the feature branch. Okay. So now instead of changing the job every time, we will give the option to choose the branch name from which branch they want to take the code. We'll give the branch name from which branch they want to take the code. That option we will give as a build parameters. So I hope you got the clarity how to create Jenkins jobs with the build parameters. Build parameters are used to supply input to run the job. Using build parameters, we can avoid hard coding values. Example, branch name. So in the Git repository, multiple branches will be available and we can pass branch name as build parameter. Create a new item. Then whenever you are creating the freestyle project, you can choose one option. This project is parameterized. Choice parameter I have selected, that means drop down. Branch name I have given. Enter every branch name in the next line. Right? Suppose if you want to give 4 branches, 4 branch names you can give in the next line. Branches to build in the repository, we are going to give the branch name like this. It is a dynamic value. So whatever the build parameter you select, that value will be coming to the branches to build. Then it will take the code from that particular branch. Now, are you able to understand practically how to create a job with the build parameters and how to execute that job? Are you able to understand what is build parameter? Yes, perfect. So what is the purpose of build parameters? Build parameters are used to supply input to run the job. Using build parameters, we can avoid hard coding values. So I have taken branch name as a build parameter. Whenever you are going to run the job, build with parameters, it will ask which branch you want to take to build it. So if I take master, it will take the code from the master and it will do the build. You will take the code from the master and it will do the build. Now, if you refresh, master branch code is deployed into my server. Master branch code is deployed into my server. Now, if I run once again, and if I take develop and click on build, now it will deploy develop branch code into my server. Now refresh my project. Now you see develop branch code is deploying to my server. How much time it is taking to build and deploy our application, guys? So earlier in the initial days of our DevOps classes, to build and deploy this code, we have taken much time. That was manual build and deployment process. But today, do you think that anybody will do manual deployment in the company? Do you think that anybody will do manual deployment in the company? Within fraction of seconds, we are able to complete build and deployment with the help of Jenkins. So what is this Jenkins? Jenkins is a CI/CD server. What is the meaning of CI/CD server? Continuous integration and continuous deployment. So when the developer modifies some code in the GitHub repository, then immediately we can take that code, we can build that code, and we can deploy that code into servers. We can deploy that code into servers. Are you guys clear? Are you guys clear with my point? Yes. Next topic, guys, we need to understand how to create users, in the Jenkins. So currently, if you observe, I am using Jenkins with my admin account. Whenever we have started our Jenkins, so we have admin account creation option. I have created an admin account in the Jenkins. So Ashok IT is my username and I have some password and I am signing into my account. This is my admin account. When I go for this admin account, I have all the functionalities. Here I can create a job, okay, and I can go and delete a job. Here job is available, disable this project or delete this job. Like this, I'm having several options in the Jenkins, right? So now, tomorrow, in our company project, multiple teams will be working. Okay, guys, in our project, multiple teams will be working. Development team will be available. Testing team will be available. DevOps team will be available. Everybody will have the access for Jenkins server. Okay, so now this is my Jenkins server. In the Jenkins server, all the jobs are available. This is my Jenkins server. In the Jenkins server, all the jobs are available. Now here, guys, with this Jenkins server, DevOps team will work. DevOps team will communicate with the Jenkins server and Dev team will communicate with the Jenkins server. Testing team also will communicate with the Jenkins server. Everybody should have access for the Jenkins server. DevOps team should have the access to create the jobs and pipelines in the Jenkins. Developers and testers should have the access to run the jobs in the Jenkins. All right. So now DevOps team should communicate with the Jenkins server. Then next one, Dev team should communicate with the Jenkins server and testing team should communicate with the Jenkins server. Now here, if you observe, in the DevOps team, 3 team members available, 3 resources, 3 people available in our DevOps team. And in the Dev team, there are 20 people available. Okay. In the testing team, there are 5 people available. So total, we have 28 members team. Total, we are having 28 members team in our project. In these 28 members, 3 people are working as the DevOps engineers, 20 people are working as the developers, 5 people are working as a testing team. 3 people, 20 people, 5 people. So total 28 members available in our project. All these 28 members should have login access for the Jenkins server. Now here guys, when we see the roles and responsibilities of our team members, DevOps team people should be able to create jobs, should be able to create the jobs, should be able to run the jobs, and edit and delete the jobs. Edit, delete, edit and edit job, delete job, okay, create the job, edit the job, delete the job, create the job, edit the job, delete the job. Then they should have the option to run the job, and they need to have access for RBAC, role-based access, creating the users. So in the Jenkins server, our DevOps people will be able to perform all these options. They should be able to create the jobs. They should be able to edit the jobs. They should be able to delete the jobs. They should be able to run the jobs. They should be able to perform RBAC. RBAC means role-based access. Role-based access. But what about the dev team? What about the dev team? Dev team should have option only to run the job. Testing team also should have the option only to run the job. Okay guys, so Jenkins is there. That is a common for our project. And developers should be able to access the Jenkins. Testing team should be able to access the Jenkins. DevOps team should be able to access the Jenkins. But here, permissions will be different. When the DevOps people log in into the Jenkins, they should be able to create the job. They should be able to edit the job. They should be able to delete the job. They should be able to run the job. And they should be able to create the users, and they should be able to manage permissions for the users. That is called RBAC, role-based access. That is called RBAC, role-based access. Are you guys clear with my point? Next one, coming to the development team and testing team. Development team and testing team should have the permission only to run the job. So now how to do that user management in the Jenkins? How to do that user management in the Jenkins? If you are working as a developer in your project, when you log in into the Jenkins server, you will have only option to run the job. If you are working as a tester in the project, if you log in into the Jenkins of your project, Jenkins server, you will have option to only run the job. If you are working as a DevOps engineer in the project, you will have all the permissions in the Jenkins. So that is called user management and permissions management in the Jenkins. So how to create the users and how to manage permissions for the users. That is what we need to understand. Are you guys clear? In this team, anybody who is using Jenkins in the company? Can you please unmute your mic, sir? Anybody who is using Jenkins in the company? I see
Yes,
many people working in the project. Vaishnavi,
yes, sir.
you're working as a developer or DevOps engineer?
No, I'm tester, but I know that Jenkins is being used in my company.
Yeah, you are working as a tester and you are using Jenkins in your project. So
Yes.
do you have login access for Jenkins?
Currently not, but I'm going to ask for that.
Yeah, so as a tester, if you log in into the Jenkins, you will see only jobs which are available, and you will have only run option to the job. You cannot create the job, you cannot delete the job because your role is a tester. Okay.
Yes.
Right. So as a tester, what is your duty? Whatever the jobs that are available to deploy the code into QA environment, you will have the option to run that job. You can just run the job. Right.
Okay.
Good. Anyone else who is working in the company and using Jenkins in the project?
Yes, Ashok Arvind here. We have the master and slabs.
Arvind.
Jenkins, I have.
You are working as DevOps or developer? Tester.
No, I am a Kafka admin.
You are a Kafka admin. So do you have option to log in into Jenkins?
Yes, to deploy my Kafka instances and deployment, I have my separate job in the Jenkins, which is I have only access.
Okay. So do you have option to create the job and delete the jobs?
No, execute the job, view the job, but can't delete it.
Right.
So yeah.
Yes, guys, see here, Arvind Prasad is working in the project as a Kafka admin. He's having the access for the Jenkins. He's having only access to execute the job, not to create the job, not to delete the job. So that means in his project, they are using RBAC for the Jenkins, role-based access. As he is Kafka admin, he's having only option to run the job. So anybody who is working as a DevOps engineer or anybody who is working as developer in the company, guys, can you unmute your mics?
Yes, sir. I am working on that all.
Venkat Shivareddy,
Yes,
you
sir.
are working as developer. Are you
Developer.
using Jenkins in the project?
Yes, sir. That is in the pipeline related.
Yeah, Jenkins pipeline is available. So do you have, when you log in into the Jenkins, are you able to see the create option?
Yes, sir.
You have option to create the jobs also.
Yes, sir.
As a developer.
Yes, sir.
No, man.
End-to-end we are working on for that one.
Sorry?
End-to-end.
I'm not getting your voice.
End-to-end we are working on for that one. Entire project. We don't have other things also.
Okay, you don't have any other team. Developers only will create the jobs in the Jenkins also, pipelines
Yes,
also.
Yes.
Okay, so if the developers are responsible to do that, then developers will have the access for that. If a DevOps team is responsible, then developers will not have the access to create the job, edit the job, and delete the job. Anyone else who can share their experience?
I
Yes, I am using I am Java developer. We are using couple of GitHub. One is
Yeah, who is speaking? Can you unmute your mic and speak out?
Yeah,
Yogesh.
yeah, myself working DevOps engineer. We have
Okay.
to user and assign to the developer and tester based on that.
Correct.
We give permission.
Correct.
Only permission only provide to developers.
Correct.
They
Correct.
give jobs.
Perfect. Good, guys. Understand. So now, guys, see in the project, multiple teams will be available. DevOps team will be available. Dev team will be available. Testing team will be available. So for everybody, all the permissions will not be available in the Jenkins server. Generally, DevOps team will have all the permissions in the Jenkins to create the jobs, edit the jobs, delete the jobs, run the jobs, and go for RBAC. Whereas for the dev team and testing team, limited permissions will be available in the Jenkins. They will have only option to run the job. They cannot edit or they cannot delete or they cannot create jobs in the Jenkins. Now, how to manage the permissions for the users in the Jenkins, how to create the users and how to manage permissions for the users in the Jenkins. That is called user management in the Jenkins. That is called user management in the Jenkins. User management in Jenkins. Now here in project, multiple team members will be available. In our project, multiple teams will be available. Okay. So for example, dev team will be available. That is called as development team. Developers will be available. Testing team will be available. And operations team will be available. Operations team will be available. Right. Now here, development and testing team only responsible to execute the jobs. Dev and testing team members are only responsible to run the Jenkins job. Run the Jenkins job. Now, operations team is responsible. Operations team is responsible to create, edit, delete, run Jenkins job. Dev and testing team members are only responsible to run the Jenkins job. Now, for every team member in our project, Jenkins server access should be available. For every team member, Jenkins access will be provided. For one user, one account will be created for the Jenkins access. Every user will have their own user account to log in into Jenkins. Now, if you have 28 team members, all the 28 team members will have accounts in the Jenkins, and based on their team, their permissions will be managed. So in our project, multiple teams will be available, or we can call it as development team, testing team, operations team. For every team member, Jenkins access will be provided. That means every team member will have their own user account to log in into Jenkins. Operations team members are responsible to create, edit, delete, or run the Jenkins jobs in the project. Now, dev and testing team members are only responsible to run Jenkins job. Now, how to create users? And manage permissions. Okay, so here I will show you how to create the user and how to manage the permissions for the users. Currently, we are having one user account, that is Ashok IT account, which is the admin account. Now I have development team members. I want to create accounts for them. For example, in the DevOps team, there is a person with a name called Ashok. For this person, I want to give full access in the Jenkins. And in the dev team, there is another person called some Sudhir. So for this person, I want to give, or let me take it as John. So he is a development team member. For this John, I want to give the permission to run the job, that just he will be able to run the Jenkins job. But for Ashok, I will give complete access in the Jenkins, because Ashok is a DevOps engineer. He should be able to access everything in the Jenkins. John is a development team member. For the John, I will give limited permission. Now, admin account is available in the Jenkins with a name called Ashok IT. Now I want to create the user. Two users I want to create. One user is Ashok, another user is John. Ashok belongs to DevOps team. He should have the complete access in the Jenkins. John belongs to dev team. He should have limited access in the Jenkins. That is called user management in the Jenkins. So now see how to create the users in the Jenkins. Now manage Jenkins, manage users. If you go to manage Jenkins, there is an option called manage users. Create, delete, modify users that can log in into this Jenkins. Who can log in into this Jenkins machine that can be managed by using manage users? Go to manage users. Currently only one user is available, Ashok IT. That is the admin account. Now I want to create the users here. Create users, configure global security for the users, manage roles and assign the roles for that. Okay, click on create users. I'm creating a user with a name called Ashok, and I'm giving a password for that user and full name, something like this. Email ID, some value, and click on create user. So I have created this user with a name called Ashok. Now here configure. So when I go for configure, the user credentials I have configured, email ID I have configured, password is available. So all the configurations is available for that user. Now, so here Ashok is one user is available. Go to manage Jenkins, then go to manage users. Ashok user got created. If you go to settings here, there are several options available for the users. Now current tokens, email ID, my views, notification URL, password, public keys, settings, default zone settings available, insensitive search tool. All this information is available for that. You can configure that. Status, builds, right? Configure, my views. So several information is available for that. Now go to manage Jenkins and go to manage users. Manage users. Create user. Let me create another user with a name called John. John. Okay. Full name I am giving as John. For the John, there is an email address. Let me give like this. Create users. So with this, I have created two users. One user is Ashok and another user is John. Just user creation is completed. Now we need to manage permissions for the users. What these users can do in the Jenkins, I want to manage that permissions. What these users can do in the Jenkins, I want to manage those permissions. In order to manage those permissions, configure global security for the users. Now go to dashboard, go to manage Jenkins, go for configure global security. Global security means define who is allowed to access or who is allowed to use the system. I have created the users, but which user can perform which action in the Jenkins, that can be configured by using global security. Go to configure global security option here. When I go for configure global security option, now what users can do? What users can do? So security Jenkins user own database. Now in the company, they will configure LDAP, or they will configure database group or Jenkins own user database. Currently, I'm using Jenkins user own database. Authorization. Now here, currently what is there in the authorization? Logged in users can do anything. If Ashok is logged in, he can do anything in the Jenkins. If John logged in, John can do anything in the Jenkins, because by default, configure global security, everybody can do anything in the Jenkins when they logged in. So from where they can log in, I created the users. When I create the users, Jenkins will maintain its own database. I created Ashok user and John user. Those users are maintained in the own database. Suppose if company is having a LDAP server, all the company employees should have the access. The LDAP server URL we need to configure here. I don't have any LDAP here. I'm going for Jenkins own database. So whatever the users you created in the Jenkins, those users can log in, and logged in users can do anything. That is the default setting. That is the default setting. But now I want to change the permission. I want to change the permission. Select this, go for matrix based security, project based matrix authorization strategy. Matrix based security is available. Anyone can do anything. Legacy mode, logged in users can do anything. Matrix based security, project based matrix authorization strategy. Let me go for matrix based security. When I go for matrix based security, it is asking add the users, add the group. Suppose if you create a group, then we can add that group. Currently, I have not created the group. We can create the user group also. All the developers will be added to one group. For that group, I will give one permission. All the testers will be added to one group. I will give the permission. For all the DevOps engineers, I will create one group. I will add the permission. Let me go for add group. What is the group name? Currently, we don't have any group here. If a group is created, we can add that group. Now, currently, I have only users. Click on add user. What is the name of the user? Ashok is my username. Okay, click on OK. Ashok user is added. For this Ashok user, what permissions I want to provide? Ashok is the administrator. So I want to give every permission for the Ashok. I'm giving administrator. So when I give administrator, he is getting all the permissions in the Jenkins. So what Ashok can do? Ashok can do anything in the Jenkins. Let me go for add user, and let me add the username as John. I have added John user. Overall for the John, read permission I am giving. For the job, run permission I am giving. Okay. So now overall read permission I am giving for the John. Overall read permission means he should be able to see what are the jobs available. Coming to the job read permission I am giving. Job build permission I am giving. That's it. Okay, guys. For the job, I'm giving the read permission, and workspace permission I'm giving for him, and build permission also I'm giving for him. I'm not giving the configure option. He cannot edit the job. I'm not giving the create option. I'm not giving the delete option. I'm not giving the delete option. Are you guys clear? Now, John is having limited permission. Ashok is having administrator permission. Click on apply. Click on save. Now Ashok IT is missing the overall read permission. Now, okay, log out. Now let me log in into Ashok account. Click on sign in. When I log in into my Ashok account, he is having access for everything. He is able to create the new job, and he is able to edit the existing job. He is able to delete the job. For the Ashok user, all the permissions are available. Now go to log out and go for John account. Go for John account. Click on sign in. Now you see for John account, create option is available. New item option is available. New item option not available for the John. John is able to see everything. I have given the overall read permission. He can read everything in the Jenkins. He can see what all the jobs available. And go to the job one. When you go to the job one, he's having only build now option. He's having the workspace. Does he have configure and delete option? Does the John is having option to edit the job? Does the John is having option to delete the job? Does the John is having the option to create the job? No. So this is called user management in the Jenkins. Are you guys clear? Are you guys clear with user management in the Jenkins? So what is the meaning of user management? As we discussed, in our project, Jenkins will be available to automate, build and deployment. And in our project, multiple teams will be available. DevOps team will be available, dev team will be available, and the testing team will be available. DevOps team should have everything in the Jenkins. DevOps team can do anything in the Jenkins. They will have full access on the Jenkins. They can create the jobs, they can edit the jobs, they can delete the jobs, they can run the jobs, and they can create the users and manage the permissions. So DevOps team can do everything. They will have full access in the Jenkins. But what about the development team members and testing team members? Development team members, testing team members will have limited access in the Jenkins. Now, do you understand how to create the user and how to give permission for users in the Jenkins? Right? So one DevOps team member will create all the users in the Jenkins and he will give permissions for all the team members. This is called user management. User management. So when there is a fresher in the DevOps team, that person will not have all the accesses. So in the DevOps team also, senior resources will have every access in the Jenkins. DevOps team, freshers, new joinees will have limited access in the Jenkins. The team will manage that. DevOps team, senior resources will have all the permissions in the Jenkins. DevOps freshers, DevOps new team members will have limited access in the Jenkins. Yes, user management in the Jenkins. In our project, multiple teams will be available: development team, testing team, and operations team. For every team member, Jenkins access will be provided. Jenkins login access will be provided. Okay. Every team member will have their own user account to log in into Jenkins. Operations team members are responsible to create, edit, delete, or run Jenkins jobs. Dev and testing team members are only responsible to run the Jenkins job. How to create users and manage user permissions. How to create users and how to manage user permissions in the Jenkins. Now we will go to Jenkins dashboard. Go to Jenkins dashboard. Manage Jenkins, then manage users, create users, go to configure global security. Go to configure global security. So in the configure global security, we have the option. Now let me log out from here. Ashok is having the complete access now. Login into his account. Here manage Jenkins available. There we have manage users available. Create, delete, modify users that can log in into this Jenkins. Okay. Now go here and click on manage users. So you can create a user here. Users are created. Create the user. Username. Suppose Smith is one user. Smith password and username, full name, email address. Create a user with a name called Smith. Smith is created. Okay. Now, so here, if you go for this Smith, that user is available. Okay. Smith user, all the permissions are available for that. People is available. Git Maven project like this. Users are available. What are the users we have created? All the users that we can see here. Perfect. Once it is created, then go to dashboard, manage Jenkins. There is an option called configure global security. Configure global security. In the global security, we can define who is allowed to access or use the system. In this configure security, here it is saying that Jenkins own user database. How can they log in? Which user's account created, they can only log in. If you want users to sign up on their own, allow users to sign up. Okay, then people can create the accounts. Who can do what here? We can add the users. Now, Ashok IT user is available. For Ashok IT user, I'm giving overall administrator access. And one more user is available is Smith. Click on add the Smith user. So now for Smith user, I want to give overall read permission. Overall read permission. And I want to give him job permission. Job he can only build and the jobs he can read. He can build and he can read the jobs. Okay, guys. Now run the pipelines and all the options we can give. Remove all permissions from the Smith. If I click this, all permissions removed for the Smith. Smith cannot do anything. So overall read permission I am giving. Coming to the job, only build permission I am giving and read permission I am giving and workspace permission I am giving. So like this, we can give the permissions for that. Markup formatter agents, disable, protections are available, notification, Git hooks, security warnings, API token, SSH server. So the remaining settings also available here. We can configure global security. We can configure global security. Now here SCM, user Smith, SCM tag for the Smith, view permission, view or create for user Smith, delete for user, read the user, agent permission, agent topic is next topic, credentials, manage the credentials in our Jenkins. He should be able to create the credentials. So credentials creation permission you want to give or not, that we can configure like this. Click on apply, click on save. Smith user is created. For Smith user, I have given only normal permission. Now go to Smith login. Click on sign in. Smith don't have option to create the job. Smith is having option to view the job, build the job, but he cannot edit the job. He cannot delete the job. Like this, we can manage users and user permissions in the Jenkins. So with this, we understood user management. Now, next topic is, guys, Jenkins master and slave configuration. So what is the meaning of Jenkins master and slave configuration? So Jenkins master and slave configuration, that is used to distribute the load of our Jenkins server. That is used to distribute the load of our Jenkins server. That I will explain in the tomorrow session because it will take time to understand the Jenkins master and slave configuration. So in the tomorrow's class, we will discuss what is the Jenkins master and slave configuration. Once the master and slave configuration is completed, then we will go for pipeline creations. That is the most important part in the Jenkins. Yep. Anybody having any questions? You can unmute your mic and you can ask.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
So PPT or PDF, whatever you saw, that you are going to share with us, or
Sir, whatever is there in the PPT, everything is there in the notes. PPT is for class purpose, not for sharing purpose. Notes already I'm sharing now.
Okay.
Whatever the points are there in the PPT, same points are there in the notes as well. PPTs we are using for taking our classes. That is not for students sharing.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. Fine,
Yeah.
guys. Good. Any questions?
Yeah, when
Actually, I'm having one doubt. It might be a silly doubt. This is regarding the cluster access. Okay, now you have created one cluster and you are able to access it. So we suppose we are the two members in the team. tomorrow I want to log in the site, that's cluster. How can I log in? I'm having the credential, but I need the security, what do you call, key pair, right? How can I get that one in the real time? How it will be accessing?
They will give that key pair, sir. For the DevOps people, they will give that access.
Okay, one key pair can be shared entire team,
Yes.
right?
Right,
Oh.
right.
Yeah, got it. Thanks.
Yeah, next question.
Sir, in GitHub we have main and master node.
In the
Hello.
GitHub,
Main and master, my node, sir.
sir, main and master branches. Right?
Branches.
Right.
If we build in Jenkins, if we give master instead of main, there is build got failed.
No,
So
guys, earlier Git repositories, they used to have they used to have master as a default branch. But from last few months, they are having main as a default branch. So whenever you are creating a Jenkins job, you need to see what is the branch available. That branch name you need to configure in the job. So in the Git,
exactly,
yes,
exactly that branch we have to mention, na?
correct. Whatever the branch is there in the GitHub repository, that branch we have to mention in the job. Otherwise, it will fail.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, my question is, so when you are creating a CI/CD pipeline for the master branch, is actually the continue one for the entire project, or you're creating multiple times actually?
The jobs will be available for every environment, sir. I will discuss that. I will explain. As
Okay.
of now, we are just understanding that what is Jenkins
Okay.
and how to use the Jenkins, but what are the real-time best practices while working with the Jenkins, we will discuss in the coming classes.
Okay, and one more thing actually, does it required for the DevOps engineer need? Like I'm not non-IT guy, so want to go for that any language, either Python or Java, anything required for
Not
that one?
required. Not required. Not required.
Because actually, job description everywhere actually asking actually either one Java developer, Java, language required or Python required in that
Some
environment.
companies are asking, but not also for DevOps people, programming knowledge. If you have just a basic idea, that is sufficient. You no need to become expert in the programming to write the code. Okay, at least basic idea. If you know what is Java, how Java works, what is Python, how Python works, that is sufficient.
Okay. Suppose if I'm a non-IT guy, if I want to get a little bit idea, so do I have to, because I joined the class, but I didn't take the class because I paid for everything. So which one actually go for that one? Actually, Java or the Python is a good option for that.
Both are good.
Okay. Okay. So because actually I did actually give my resume to that my company, but actually I'm working in the support engineer side. They are not considering me actually because what's lacking me, not even call for any first round of interview. That's why I'm a little concerned.
Okay. So we'll discuss on that, sir. We'll connect personally. We'll discuss on that.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, Ashok.
Yeah, hi.
So we created some users in Jenkins, right? So
Prithvi, your voice is not clear for me. Could you please speak loudly?
Yeah, so we created some users in Jenkins, right?
Correct.
Is it good now?
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah. So is there any project-based user access?
Yes, project-based option is also available. We can create a project and we can add the users to that particular project. That also can be managed.
So based on the project, also we can give access.
Yes, right. We can do that.
Yes.
So Ashok, in the upcoming classes, are we going to cover the, how to integrate the Nexus and SonarQube, Maven, Docker Kubernetes, right?
That is Nexus, SonarQube. Already I explained in the classes for them, how to work with them, but integration, I will show that.
Okay, yeah. Okay, thanks.
Perfect, guys. Thank you. I have uploaded the notes. So please practice the Jenkins job creation, users creation, build parameters. So tomorrow we'll work with master slave architecture in the Jenkins. Thank you guys.